Hey guys, how you doing today? Um, I wanted to do a video about my Philodendron Bloody Mary. A lot of you have spotted it and commented in my videos, and I wanted to show her to you. I can't quite get her all. Let's see. I'm going to push it up just a hair maybe. That is the very, very top of her. And she's got all kinds of new growth coming out here. And right here, you can see. And I've had her for a year now. And when I got her, I bought it as a cutting. Excuse me. I bought her as a cutting, but when she got to me, she actually had a little bit of roots on her. And then he actually sent me two plants. It was because this is a separate plant right here. You can see there's two stalks in here, and then over here, right here, is a baby that this mother plant pushed up, and she's just pushed that up here recently. I'm going to take that out. That's kind of distracting. Oh. And I don't use that. It's just something pretty that one of my kids got for me for a Mother's Day or something. Excuse me again. The weather has got me all crazy. But anyways, what I wanted to say about this plant is I struggled with her a lot. When I first got her, she just kind of sat still, didn't move, and she just really wouldn't grow. It was like she was kind of stuck. Well, I took her outside in the summertime, and I put her in my greenhouse, and I put her in really, really bright light. She was sitting on the southwest corner of my greenhouse, but my greenhouse is all shaded. I had sheer curtains up on one side, and then I had actual greenhouse shading up on the other side. So she was getting bright light, but it wasn't right in the sun. But she was getting a little bit of morning sun from the east side of my greenhouse as the sun was coming up and moving around. And all of a sudden, she just took off. So what I was thinking about this plant is, you know, she's a philodendron. Philodendrons don't need really high super light. They can be in medium light and they grow fine. They grow well under grow light in the winter. But I'm thinking with this particular plant, and I have another philodendron that's red. Oh boy, I can't think of the name of her right now. But they both grew exceptionally better under a more highlight situation. So if you have this plant, or any kind of the deep dark red foliage plant, because this is a very, very dark, the stems are dark, the leaves are dark, and when they first come out, they are like super beet red. And anyways, I lost my I lost my train of thought. But if you have this plant, or any plant that has the deeper red, and you're having issues with it, try putting it in a little bit higher light. Now, of course, you don't want to set it in the full afternoon sun. in the summertime, I think are, you know, and the winter sun is a lot different than summer sun. Like I have plants in my south window right now, and in my west window for that fact, um, that I wouldn't normally have in my south window without my shears pulled. Because I have shears in my south and west windows that I have to keep pulled uh, shut in the wintertime because the sun is just too much. Um, but it really seems to enjoy a higher light. Like when I brought them in, they're in my, she's in my plant room, um, in the south window of my plant room. Plus she's under a grow light. Now recently I've had to move her, and because I had to get my begonias over in that south window. My begonias were really, really acting up without a deeper light. So now I have my begonias in the south window, and those are my cane begonias, and under a grow light. And now she is just under a grow light. But I have the grow light like right on top of her. I mean right on top of her. And she's still growing well. This is a new leaf that she's just pushed up. She's got another one right here. That one is new. This one is new. And this secondary plant over here has a new growth coming up again. And these are all new leaves. But you know, before I put her into higher light, she just wasn't doing anything for me. I mean, she was growing, but it was very slow. After she did finally get, you know, I call it stuck. They just kind of are at a standstill. But, and she's pretty much the same care as all the other philodendrons. Fast draining soil. They like to be fed. I feed my philodendrons a lot. Practically every time I water, I do try to leave once a month where I just run straight water through them, and you know, you want to leach out the salts. And that's another great thing about terracotta pots. I'm going to move my camera down here a little bit so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay. Terracotta pots. One of the reasons I love terracotta pots is, if you guys notice, and I'm sure you guys that have terracotta pots also notice this, all the white stuff that gathers on the outside of your pot, which is also probably actually on the inside of the pot too, but we just can't see it. But all of this white stuff that gathers on the outside of your terracotta pots is your terracotta pot doing its job. It's very porous, it's letting air through, it's absorbing water and letting go of water. As you can tell right here, if you guys can see this, I just watered her thoroughly, and I'm letting her sit in this tray of water. And I am going to let her sit here until this whole terracotta pot is wet looking. You can tell the difference between a dry terracotta pot and a wet terracotta pot. But the terracotta will pull up and absorb all that moisture. But what I'm talking about with this white stuff, and why I love terracotta, is because I feel like all this white stuff on the outside of your pot is all of the salt and mineral buildup that gets into your soil. And the terracotta pulls that out. And that's a good thing. Because otherwise, all this white stuff, which is your minerals and your salt builds up from fertilizer and from the soil itself, would be trapped inside of the pot constantly. So if you're seeing white stuff on your terracotta pots, and I know a lot of people don't like it, I don't really mind it. It don't bother me. It just makes it look kind of aged to me. But it's doing its job. It's pulling out the salt buildup that gets trapped in. Otherwise, if you're using a plastic pot or a ceramic pot, all that's staying in there, which means, in my opinion, you should probably be flushing your plants out a little bit more often, um, because you don't want that salt buildup. And that could be, you know, if you're having problems with plants, that could be part of the issue, is that you're getting salt, a lot of salt and minerals built up in the soil. But it and if you're interested in cleaning this off and you don't like it, peroxide. Put peroxide in a spray bottle and spray it all over your pot, and it will eat it up. And then also scrubbing it will work, but sometimes you get really hard deposit on there and you can't get it off. And peroxide usually works. But yeah, I mean, as far as the care for the Philodendron Bloody Mary, I find she needs a little more higher light, uh, and the soil is the same, feeding is the same. I give mine fish food every time I water once a week, and then I take a week break and I flush my pot through like I'm doing right now. I put her in the sink and I just flushed it out. And then I brought her over here, put her in the tray, and put a couple cups of water in it. And I want this terracotta to soak up a little bit of the water. Sometimes I think that with all of the additives that we put in our soil, the perlite and the bark, sometimes the water will just drain right down through, and you're not getting your whole pot and your soil soaked. So you have to be a little bit mindful of that, because you want to make sure that you're giving your plants a good drink. So that's just what I do. I mean, that's just my opinion, and that's what I do. But yeah, I mean, if you're having a little bit of issues with this plant, if you have it, try putting her in a little bit higher light, and I think she will take off for you. And philodendrons are very hungry plants. They like a lot of food. I give mine fish food every time I water, and once a month I am putting a fresh dose of worm castings in her pot, and then I will water her down thoroughly. And I'm not on any kind of a time schedule. I just go through once a month and give everybody fresh worm castings. And you know, you don't have to be scientific about it or whatever. I mean, I just do it because I like doing it, and I just don't give it a second thought, really. But oh, and that's something else I want to say. You guys, my last video when I was editing, I hit 1K, and I was so excited. I mean, I could not. If you guys watched my last video, I put like a little note card up there, and you guys are great, and I really appreciate all of you guys watching and commenting. Everybody, all of my subscribers are so great, and I love talking to everybody. And I just want to thank you guys, because if it wasn't for you guys, I mean, I would have not hit that, and I would have never guessed. I mean, it really hasn't been my goal. I just wanted to share my plants and share my knowledge, and I never really, I didn't start doing this to, you know, get a whole bunch of subscribers or make money off of this or anything. It was just for fun. And actually, when I first started this, I was, I started showing my orchids. My whole channel actually started with showing my orchids, and it wasn't to talk about them. It was for help from other orchid YouTubers that I watched daily and was learning from. And so then it just kind of turned into plants too in my garden, because I started having, ooh, what was that plant? I just seen a plant over by your one orchid, and then it just kind of snowballed into my other plants, and then my garden, and then 2 years ago, or well, 3 years ago, I got my greenhouse finally after waiting. Like, I've always wanted a greenhouse, but yeah, I just can't thank you guys enough. You guys are great. I love talking to all of you. And I wanted to throw an idea out. Um, with it being winter, I mean, there's only so much plant stuff that you can do. I mean, yeah, stuff is still growing, stuff still needs to be repotted, even though I know a lot of people don't agree with repotting and feeding in the winter. But if your plants are growing and they're growing out of their pot, you need to repot them if you're having an issue. If your plants are growing, you need to feed them, and you guys need to remember that. Um, I've been I learned everything off my mom. My mom has beautiful plants and a beautiful garden, and I follow her. And um, I mean, you can take everything I say with a grain of salt, or what anybody else says with a grain. But if your plants are growing, you need to keep feeding them, because if you're not feeding them when they need to be fed, when they're growing, you're going to end up with really small leaves. You're going to end up with funky looking leaves because they don't have enough energy to grow properly. And if your plant needs to be repotted in the winter, it needs to be repotted in the winter. I mean, you can't go up and tell your plant, no, I can't take care of you like I should because it's wintertime. No, it don't work like that. I repot everything in the winter. My orchids, my plant. Of course, I don't get out in my garden and do nothing because it's cold and there's snow all over the ground. But you need to know your plants, and I think everything will be fine. I've never had any issues from repotting or feeding in the winter. But what I want to know from you guys is, I thought it might be kind of fun to talk about one plant, do a video on plant care or how I take care of them if I have that plant. Um, so I want some ideas from you guys on what plants you would like to have a care video on, or um, just a plant that you want me to show that maybe you've seen and maybe I've never talked about it, or whatever. But I need some ideas, and I want ideas from you guys because you guys are the one watching, and you're the guys that are wanting to learn and figure out your plants and stuff. So I want to know. Leave in the comment section. What plants do you want to have some care on, and if I have that plant, I will most definitely do a care video as best as I can. I can give my own advice, and that's it, of course. But um, yeah, so that's it on the Bloody Mary Philodendron. I love her. I think she's gorgeous. If you guys ever have a chance to pick this plant up, I would say go for it because she is just gorgeous. I love the color, and Bloody Mary name fits her. I did some research and I couldn't find any other names on her. Just, of course, the Eracea family, just like the other aroids. But other than that, that was the only name. So, but yeah, guys, give me some ideas on some plant care videos that you want to see, and I will write everything down, and then I will get started, and I'll do that like once a week, and then the rest of the week will just be, whatever. If I need to repot a plant or whatever, and I will continue to keep doing that. And I'm going to let you guys go. This was supposed to be a short video, and I just sat here and yacked. So, but, once again, thank you guys. I am going to be doing a giveaway for you guys. I have come up with a couple of ideas that I think I'm going to do, and with it being so cold right now, I kind of hate to ship any plants, but I I don't know. I'm going to have to think about it a little bit more. But I do have a really good idea that I want to do. I will let you guys know when I'm doing that. And that's it for today, guys. I will talk to you guys later. You have a great day and peace. Bye.